I'm Sarah, a tutor at Accountancy Learning, and in this video I'll take you through the Business Awareness AAT Sample Paper 1 Task 5. So Task 5 then is all about the microeconomic environment and sustainability. So looking at the first question then, we're asked to identify which two of the following events may cause a shift in the demand curve of a normal good. So we've got a change in the quantity supplied, a change in consumer income, a change in consumer tastes and preferences, and a change in raw material costs. So when we're talking about a shift in the demand curve, it's going to be affected by what people want or what they can afford. So looking at our options then, the first one, a change in the quantity supplied, doesn't really matter. That's not going to be an effect. It's not going to cause a shift in the demand curve just because there's more quantity. A change in consumer income. So this is going to be one of our answers, because if there's a change in consumer income, it means that the demand for products is going to change based on whether or not people can afford it. A change in consumer tastes and preferences is going to be our second of two answers, because if the consumers decide that they no longer want a particular product, or they decide that they prefer something different, it is going to change the demand curve. So we have our two answers there, but then a change in raw material costs, just to finish off, that is more of an issue for the manufacturer rather than the demand being affected by it. Moving on to the next question then. A normal good called N has a substitute called S. The price of S has fallen. Identify the effect of the fall in the price of S on the quantity demanded of N as shown on its demand curve. So if we have a look at what this is going to look like, here would be the basic demand curve. So if our product is going to be affected by the price reduction of another product, so N is being affected by the price of S, it means that S is going to have an increase in the amount that people want of it, so therefore N is going to decrease. So here then on the demand curve, you can see that at whatever price N was at, the demand is going to lower, so we're going to be going this way on our quantity bar, and therefore the demand curve is shifting to the left. Then a chain of small discount supermarkets is entering into another area of the market by opening up big hypermarkets. Now we're asked to identify which two of the following will be the impact of the small discount supermarket's entry. So the first one, higher prices as a result of increased competition in the hypermarket industry due to an increased number of participants. So usually if there's an increase in competition, then prices will actually lower. So that's not going to be one of our answers. Second, heavy discounting as a competitive response from the large hypermarket chains to protect their market share. So this is likely to happen because they want to keep their customers. So they're likely to offer discounts to be more attractive than the new hypermarkets opening. Potentially unethical behaviour as other hypermarkets respond by putting more pressure on suppliers to cut prices. So again, this is going to be a possible impact because the other hypermarkets are going to want to get things cheaper, and therefore it could present some unethical behaviour to try to make that happen. And then the final one, we've got our two answers there, so we have answered this question. But the final one, reduced market share for the large hypermarket chains, which will lead to increased economies of scales. So you wouldn't have economy of scales if your market share is reducing. So only a larger market share would mean the potential to have increased economies of scale. So part B, complete the following statement about the meaning of sustainability. A sustainable business meets the needs of the present time without, and then we've got three options, any negative impact on the environment, impacting the resources of future generations, or changing the long-term goals of the business. So sustainability then is about making sure that a business can meet the needs of where they are in the current time, but it's also got to ensure that we don't impact the resources of future generations. Part of this question is identify one type of sustainability that each of the following organisational policies relate to. BCLG Limited has a policy to consult with wildlife protection groups on any new housing developments before finalising plans. And we've got options of social, environmental or financial sustainability. So for this one then, we are looking at wildlife protection groups. So because they consult with them, this is going to be considered as environmental sustainability. Becker B Limited has a very successful internal continuing professional development plan for all employees. So here it's talking about the CPD for all employees. So it's not going to be environmental, not going to be financial. So it has a social sustainability because it's about the employees, their development and their future. B Limited has clearly defined strategic plans and all new projects must be capable of achieving a minimum level of profit within 3 years to be accepted. So we're talking here about strategic plans and achieving a minimal level of profit. So for that, we're going to be talking about financial sustainability so that they are making the profit they need within 3 years to be accepted. And the last part of this task then, we're told an organisation has the following stakeholders: customers, shareholders, employees and local community. The question asks us to identify which of the stakeholders has or have an interest in the organisation's sustainability plans. Well, all of these stakeholders will be interested in sustainability plans because they will have their own interest in the business and therefore they would have their own interest in how sustainable that business is. And that brings us to the end of task 5.